And how do we get more women, because this is your area of research, how do we get more women into those areas of psychology, like areas like neuroscience, like quantitative even? How do we apply what you know from your research in psychology to get women in those fields?
You know, I honestly think some of it has to be at an institutional level in terms of just making it possible. I think a lot of people see some of these fields as more difficult, more time-consuming. So making it seem like it's doable, putting funding there. Actually, at the symposium that I co-chaired yesterday with Janine Buckner, we, the group of us who had been part of that symposium, had a drink afterwards so we could talk about exactly where do we want to go from here with the research that we're doing. And Marianne Mason was talking about what she did when she was graduate dean at Berkeley, and how she made all of these institutional changes. For example, and this sounds so small, but it's so huge, enabling graduate students to take paid maternity leave, which is now becoming, it was one of the first places. But if a road seems harder and people opt off of it for a reason, and these neuroscience, quantitative, they appear, they're perceived to be harder. If we can make it seem easier to do it, I think that will start to make a difference. There was a study that was done. We're working with a group called the Progress Group, which is made up of prominent female chemists. We were there. Our group was their evaluator. We were their evaluators to start with, but we've gotten more involved in their work. And one of the things that they talk about is if you require a chemistry department or a physics department or whatever to have at least one woman come, so you normally would bring 3 people to campus for a job. If you say, we'll pay for the 4th, but it has to be a woman and you have to have her, they then are much more likely to hire. Because if you have to bring a woman to campus, you're going to bring the best one there is. And, you know, shockingly, sometimes she comes to campus and she's really going to be the best person for the job. And so, I mean, very specific. And it needs to come from the top. I mean, we've done a lot. The women who are on the lower levels have done a lot. And I've so far had small leadership positions, but I was director of women's studies at Seton Hall for a while. I was associate dean of graduate studies for a couple of years, and now I'm chair of my department. And being in those roles in very tiny ways, you can make changes. You've got the power to make. And again, my power was very limited, but even with my very limited power, it was amazing to see you can make changes. So we just, I think, need more women. And the woman who hired me, our former dean at Seton Hall, Molly Smith, she's the one who pulled me in as associate dean. She's now going on to be president of Manhattanville. And she's amazing. And so women like Molly, she comes from an English background. And actually several of my mentors are outside of psychology. But Molly, she's very forward-thinking, very creative thinking, and I'm thrilled that she's going to be a college president. So the more we have people like that,